What's good, everybody? Welcome on in. We're back with some more AFL footy tips for round 19 coming up. I can't believe how fast this year has gone. I had a stinker of around 18. If you guys didn't see that video, I think I tipped 5 incorrect footy tips, which is absolutely wild. So let's get stuck into it. Here we go, baby. Bang! All right, so we've got our footy tips here for round 19. This should be an interesting round compared to the last couple that we've had, but let's get into the tips straight away. I'm going to go with the Gold Coast. I'm going to go with the GWS Giants over the Bombers. The Bombers' injury woes are so bad at the moment. I am going to tip the Giants to easily dispatch them at Marvel Stadium. The Bombers losing Nick Martin to an ACL for another 12 months is awful. Hopefully he has a speedy recovery. Yeah, he's gone, and they've had a couple of other injuries as well. The Giants will probably beat them by about 10 goals. 60 points is what I'm going to predict the Giants to win by. They're going to absolutely dominate. This is actually a bit of a sleeper game, in my opinion. The Lions and the Bulldogs at the Gabba. I think the Bulldogs will actually have a point to prove after losing to the Crows last week at home. I think that the Crows played some really good footy against the Bulldogs, but the Bulldogs could have played a lot better as well. And I think the Lions will be a really, really good test. This will be like the real test of where the Bulldogs are at. If they can go to the Gabba and beat the Lions, I think they'll sort of flip the narrative that they can't beat any top 8 teams this year. Because I think they're 1-7 against top 8 teams, which is pretty bad. The Lions, but I will be tipping the Lions by about 3 goals over the Bulldogs. I think it'll be a fun game to watch on Friday night. It's so refreshing to have a round where there's no Carlton playing on a Thursday or Friday. They do not deserve all those games that they've had this year. It's been a disgrace. But that aside, yeah, I think that'll be a good game to watch on Friday night. Let's move over to Hawthorn and the Power, who traditionally at the last few times have played in some absolute classics. Crazy to think that, this time last year, Hawthorn were not that great, and Port Adelaide, well, I guess, Hawthorn did play finals, so that's not true. I guess earlier in 2023, maybe Hawthorn were pretty average and Port were really, really good, and now they've kind of flipped the script, I guess. It's being played down in Tasmania, which I think will absolutely favour Hawthorn. They love playing down there, it seems. And I think they'll get over the line pretty easy against the Power. I'm going to tip them by 35 points over Port Adelaide. So let's move on to Sydney and North Melbourne. This will also be a good game to watch, the SCG. I think that the Swans are super short-priced favourites. And actually, yeah, North don't have a ruckman this week, do they? Because Zeri's been banned for 3 weeks after knocking out the Melbourne player. So I think the Swans will actually get over the line pretty easy. Grundy's in insane form at the moment. So whoever North Melbourne have to play as their first ruck against Grundy's going to be in for a house of pain. And Saturday afternoon at the SCG, the Swans will win by about 40 points, I reckon, over North. Then we move to another stinker of a game, Carlton versus Melbourne. And Melbourne are actually favourites going into this game, and I'm gonna tip Melbourne as well, because Carlton just don't fill me with any confidence at all. And I've always had a rule, if I'm not sure about Carlton, just to tip against them, because they always let me down. So I'm going to go the D's by about 3 goals. I think I'm not sure what the weather's going to be like, but I think it'll be a reasonably close-ish game. I think both these teams are kind of around the same sort of mark at the moment. Speaking around the same sort of mark, we've then got the thriller on Saturday night, where Optus Stadium, it's the Eagles and the Tigers, and the Eagles are actually favourites to win this, even though the Tigers have won a lot more games than anyone thought this year. I'm actually going to tip the Tigers to beat the Eagles over there. I think the Eagles are still absolutely rubbish. And they're like 3 games clear on the bottom of the ladder, so they're like guaranteed the first pick, I think, which is just mind-boggling, because everyone thought that Richmond, weren't going to win any games this year, and they've won like 3 or 4. So, fair play to them. And they could have won a couple of extras as well. They had a couple of games where they were leading and faded out. I'm going to tip the Tigers by 10 points over the Eagles. Sorry, I've gone too far. Then we move to the Cats and the Saints. Sunday, almost morning. This will be a pretty foregone conclusion. I think the Cats will have to bounce back after the loss they had against the Giants last week. It was a bit of a shock that they didn't really, turn up at all, really, against the Giants. The Giants dominated that whole game pretty much. The Cats, I expect to come out and absolutely wipe the floor with St Kilda. St Kilda just aren't that good. and Geelong, you know, top 4 at the moment and are expected to be playing in a qualifying final, probably against the Pies. So I think the Cats will win, and the win will be quite easy. 28 points for the Cats. And then we move to the Dockers and the Magpies at the MCG. This is a really, really good test for the Dockers. I think the Dockers will find out how good they are and if they will be playing finals this year against the Pies. I'm tipping the Pies to win by about 35 points as well. But I think the Dockers, if they can put up a good fight against the Pies, I think they'll earn a lot of sort of brownie points with their fans as well. I think that if they can show up at the MCG on a Sunday afternoon against the Magpies, and that'll sort of give them a lot of confidence going forward. So interesting game to watch, that one. But yeah, 30 odd points for the Pies. And then the Crows and the Suns at the Adelaide Oval. I think it is the Crows' revenge for the Suns' loss earlier in the year. The Crows lost by 1 point against the Suns, and there was all that big dust up with Thrillthorpe and Mac Andrews. So I thought that was a bit of fun. They might renew that rivalry, and there might be a round 2 this week. Who knows? But I think the Crows should get over the line against the Suns. They had a dominant performance, but they nearly faded away against the Pies, and I think that might have taken a fair bit out of them, whereas the Crows seemingly did it reasonably easy-ish, never really looked in doubt against the Bulldogs. So I'll tip the Crows by about 3 goals over the Suns. Let me know your tips in the comment section below, guys. I'd love to hear what you guys think. But yeah, Crows by 18, Pies by 30, Cats by 35. I'm going to go the Tigers by 10. I'm going to go the D's by 18. I'm going to go the Swans by 40. I'm going to go the Hawks by 30. I'm going to go the Lions by 15. And I'm going to go the Giants by 40 as well. So I've probably already changed my numbers from when I was reading them out. But yeah, that's basically what I'm going to go for, guys. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week for our footy tips. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Peace!